Hello and welcome to my Insect Glaive weapon build guide for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. This is a weapon I am extremely passionate about, as it has been my main for several years now, and I don't care what the haters say, this is the best iteration of the Insect Glaive we have ever gotten. This build is going to be featured around the Staff of Laertes Cherry Cricket Blossom hidden weapon tree, and I call it the Boomstick. Because it goes boom with blast damage and it's a stick. So before I get into the build, I want to go ahead and tell you a couple of weapon basics that I keep in mind. Some things that you can do to optimize your hunts if you don't do them already. If you already do these, great. But number one is going to be use small monsters for essence. This is a bigger deal than ever in this game because having full essence gives you earplugs, which allows you to go directly into the monster and start dealing damage instead of getting, stunned by the initial roar. So definitely use those small monsters to get red, white, and orange essence before you encounter the big bad. My next tip is going to be to use blunt kinsects, and this is because your insect glaive itself is a tail severing part targeting machine, and giving it the ability to pump out blunt damage as well gives you the ability to get some knockouts, and is really fun to use on solo hunts, but even on multiplayer hunts you can kind of tell where you get in there and you can kind of get some stuns in it. It's another dimension of the weapon that opens up solely based on the type of kinsect that you choose. And finally, I'm going to say to utilize those ground combos. In the past, this was an obvious one as ground combos did more damage than your aerial combos. But in this game, you're going to see that aerial combos can actually pump out a ton of damage. So you're going to want to keep in mind that there are instances like when a monster's knocked, where you want to use those ground and pound strats to target a specific part to get lots of damage off in a short amount of time. Now that you have those tips in mind, let's go ahead and talk about these switch skills. Your first choice is going to be advancing round slash versus leaping slash. I don't see why anybody would ever use leaping slash. Advancing round slash is everything. It's a counter, it's a draw, it's a dodge, it's a get out of jail free maneuver. It gets you into the action super fast, and leaping slash is just kind of slow and not really that fun. Definitely don't ever use leaping slash unless you found some great use for it. But yeah, advancing round slash is great. You can counter basically anything. Roars, fire, poison pods from Rathian, Apex. It's great. And like I said, it does work from the draw. So you're going to want to go ahead and keep this in your toolkit. Your next choice is Tornado Slash versus Tetraseal Slash. You can use whatever you want here. I use Tornado Slash just because in my mind it flows with my ground combo better. And I do think that this is more of just like a feel type of combo for you, however you want to roll with it. You can roll one of each on your scrolls if you'd like. Your third choice is going to be between Jumping Advanced Slash and the Kinsect Slash. Jumping Advanced Slash is, of course, your old aerial combo where you have the acrobatic, flippy staff doing damage and stuff. And the Kinsect Slash is going to be the new move introduced in Sunbreak, where you basically attack a specific part of the monster and do a couple hits, fly out, grab 2 essence, come in and do that again. Now, I don't know why they cap you at 2 essence on this. If you could get all 3 essence, I would see an argument to use it. But because you're only getting 2 essence, I really don't see why you would use this ability over the original one. It's harder to aim. It does less damage. You can see that on the screen just in the training room. And you have to go on the ground to get more essence anyway. So it's just like, it's one of those moves that's like almost really, really, really good. But because it doesn't do like any of those things all of the way, it's just not as good as your original move. It doesn't give you more damage, it doesn't give you more control, and it doesn't give you any sort of meaningful advantage in terms of the extract game. However, I do run this on my second switch skill swap scroll, and that's just because I do like to, mess around and see if there are instances where this might be better. But I haven't found that yet. For this choice, I'm always going to go Jumping Advanced Slash for your aerial combo. Next, we have the Diving Wyvern versus Awakened Kinsect Slash versus Recall Kinsect. Now, this is going to probably be where you have the biggest choice, and you're going to want to choose whichever one you like the most, basically. I normally run Diving Wyvern because damage. Whenever you're seeing 12, 1300 plus damage hits from an Insect Glaive, with a beetle doing, you know, about 200 on top of that, you kind of get addicted. I will say that Awakened Kinsect attack is really cool, and it's a fun way to, like, if you see your essence blinking, to swap over and just send it out as like a final last hurrah for that bug. Dive in there and get some more essence on your way out. There are instances where that could work, and as well as Recall Kinsect. I personally don't use Recall Kinsect. I never really have. I find the mobility on the Insect Glaive to be enough, and I don't really need the heal. I haven't found it useful enough to give up that diving wyvern damage, but I know a ton of people run Recall Kinsect, and a ton of people swear by it, and so if that's you, do not switch up your playstyle for this build. I just say that I use Diving Wyvern because it gives me that big daddy damage. And finally, we have the Silkbind Vault versus Kinsect Glide. Can anybody think of any reason why you would use Kinsect Glide? Anybody? Anyone? Anything? As far as I can tell, it's a shorter distance than Silkbind Vault. You can't aim it vertically, just horizontally. And it's a little slower. I use Silkbind Vault. I'm going to swear by Silkbind Vault. I'm going to still use Silkbind Vault. Unless somebody down in the comments can let me know why I would use Kinsect Glide. Alright, so finally we're going to get into the build itself. For the weapon, like I said, we're going to be using the Staff of Laertes. This is the staff that you get from harvesting cherry blossom crickets from the Argosy. Things like honey bring them back to you. But this Insect Glaive is the jack of all trades. It comes with a level 2 gym slot, 2 level 1 gym slots, a level 3 rampage slot, a 30 defense bonus, 46 blast, level 15 Kinsect, which is max, and 320 raw. The raw is not as high as you can go, but with everything else, it balances out quite nicely. And of course, this reaches purple sharpness without handicraft. It's going to be a sliver of purple sharpness, but it's going to survive with your protective polish, which we have in this build. For the Staff of Laertes slots, we are looking at the Tenderizer Jewel in the level 2 slot, 2 Steadfast Jewels in the level 1 slots, and the Teostra Soul Jewel in the level 3 Rampage slot. You could consider slotting in maybe the Kushara Deata gem here, but this is called the Boomstick build, not the Affinity build, so we're going to go Boom. So for your Kinsect, you can use basically whatever you're comfortable with in this build. There's no particular need for a different type of Kinsect, like triple power up or anything like that. But I do use the Carnage Beetle, and that is because this thing is a monster. It's adding roughly 10 to 20% of damage, I don't know exactly, to each of your diving wyverns. And whenever you do certain moves in your ground combos, it is attacking along with your stick. And if you're attacking at the head, that is going to be doing knockout damage if you're running the blunt variant of your Kinsect. That is why I do recommend the blunt variant, and the Carnage Beetle not only does this, but it brings in 2 essence at a time, which in master rank, whenever time is of the essence, haha, that is really important. And if you know where the essence colors are, such as the orange and the white, the red is automatic, and that just makes things a ton more helpful. And you're gonna say, oh, precision, but the Carnage Beetle is so slow. That is true until you get to Kinsect level 15. At that point, it is basically a mid-tier speed Kinsect, and I think you'll find the benefits outweigh the negatives when it comes to this beetle. I highly recommend the Carnage Beetle, but you can use whatever bug you want. For the helm, we're going to be rocking the Gore Helm, which comes with 2 level 2 slots that we're going to be filling with 2 Sharp Jewels, level 1 Agitator, and level 2 Constitution. For the chest, you're going to want to use the Gore Magala Mail. This has a level 2 slot, a level 1 slot, which we're going to be using another Sharp Jewel, and the level 1 slot is going to be your only free slot on this build. I use Botany for them extra mats, but you can use whatever you want here. The armor itself will give you Coalescence level 1 and a Constitution level 3. So with these 2 pieces of gear, we already have max Protective Polish and max Constitution, which is going to be a big deal for this build. For the gloves, we are using the Astalos Braces. These have a really nice level 4 slot, a level 1 slot, which we're going to be using the Wirebug Jewel 4 for 2 levels of Wirebug Whisperer, and this is going to be your Brace Jewel slot as well. The braces themselves come with Chained Crit, Stamina Surge, and Stun Resistance, so some real good tech there for the Insect Glaive. For the waist, we are looking at the Astalos Coil. This has a level 2 slot, which we're going to fill with a critical jewel. A level 1 slot that has a grinder jewel for that speed sharpening. But the coil itself comes with max power prolonger, level 3, and level 2 speed sharpening. Now that is awesome. So because of how we have it spec'd out with decos, this one waist is giving you max power prolonger and max speed sharpening. Like, that's just incredible. Anyway, moving on to the feet, we have the Grand God's Pier feet. These are the Furious Rajang boots, and they give you 3 level 3 slots, which we are using all of them for the Hungerless Jewel. Having max hunger resistance makes it so you do not lose your stamina gauge during the hunt, basically. You know, whenever it gets that red section, you have to eat rations to fill your stamina gauge back up. Yeah, you don't want to be doing that with Insect Glaive. So looking at the armor itself, it comes with level 2 crit boost, level 1 latent power, and level 2 flinch free. For the talisman, this is where you have kind of the most flexibility. You're going to basically want 2 level 2 slots. And for this build, I have a talisman that has a level 2 evade extender attached to it, which is super nice. Now, the one I'm using also has speed eating, so you'll see that skill in there as well. But you're basically focused on the evade extender and the 2 level 2 slots. If you can get that, your build will basically be the exact same as mine, minus the speed eating, which is kind of a mess skill. So not a super hard talisman to pull for, I don't think. It's something that I think a lot of people should be able to get at some point. So once we put all of this together, here is what we are looking at in terms of your skills for this build. We have max constitution, max critical boost, max weakness exploit, max protective polish, max power prolonger, max stun resistance, max speed sharpening, max flinch free, max hunger resistance, level 2 speed eating, level 2 evade extender, wire bug whisper level 2, agitator, latent power, stamina surge level 1, botanist, which is that free slot I told you about, coalescence level 1, and chain crit level 1. Now that is a lot of additional level 1 skills there at the end, but I'd like to remind you of 2 things. 1, look at all of the max skills that we have that are specific for this weapon and this build. It is incredible. The optimization is unreal. And 2, most of these are going to be raising your damage at some point in the fight, even by a little bit. So we got agitator, your damage goes up when a monster roars, basically. Latent power has like the weird timer thing where you get more damage. Stamina surge is good for just building your stamina back up a little faster. Botanist is the free skill I told you about. Coalescence is going to boost your damage every time you recover from a blight. And chain crit is going to boost your damage every time you get consistent hits on a monster, which, let's be honest, with the Insect Glaive is quite often. So I don't find that any of these skills are actually wasted. They're just not, you know, used to their fullest potential. And speaking of those free slots like the botany slot, if you were to run this build with elemental insect glaives, which I'm going to show on the screen right now, I run the Lunageddon one and the Thunder God, which is the Astalos. It actually works quite nicely. You can honestly take out some of those hunger resistant jewels to slot in some thunder attack or anything like that. You could do the same with the botanist jewel as well. And those are just some different optimizations you could do for different types of monsters you fight. But I really do believe that this core set here with these skills are a really, really good tool set to let anybody enjoy the Insect Glaive, from a level 1 inexperienced user to a veteran user. The armor that I have here isn't really too hard to get. There's not a lot of, I mean, I guess Furious Rajang is a little late in the game, but I really think that a lot of people could take advantage of this build and have a lot of fun with it. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments below. What weapons are you enjoying the most right now? Thank you so much for sitting through this weapon guide video. It is the first I've done. If I should do some more, leave it a thumbs up. That helps a lot. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. I do stream on Twitch every single night at twitch.tv/precision. We're doing a lot of Monster Hunter right now, and I'd like to see you come through and join our lobby. Anyway, that is all for me today, friends. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.